So to do that, I'm just gonna clear this form. I'll use the same form here, except when I click the button here, it should do something with with an array. So in here, well, we could read the string from the input box as is with this comma separator, and then we're going to pass that new array, which is str, right, new string. We'll pass that to a function to do something for us. Okay, so I'm going to do a function down here. Maybe if you were to get like numbers, right? If you put a list of numbers in the form here, and so for example, if I do like 1, 2, and then 34, 56, and 7 like that, it's gonna generate a list inside the array of numbers like this, and they will pass this array to a function to return maybe the largest number or the odd number or whatever it is back to another variable name. We'll print that up here. Okay, so let's do that. So we did get that part taken care of. Read the string, split the string into the array called new string array. This is a string, right? So whatever is even though we pass numbers, it's still going to be string type. You can force it to be an integer if you want. Maybe we could do that. We should say assuming it's all integer only. Okay, we change that to integer type. Well, this has to be parsed, I guess. We say integer parse. We're going to parse everything into integer. Let's see if that works. No. Did I do it wrong? Okay, well, let's see. I think it's a C int. Still wouldn't do it. Okay, well, we'll keep it as string is fine. I can't remember the string. Okay, so we read that in there, either words or number, it doesn't matter. And we're going to pass this new string array to a function, and the function will return the largest value. Okay, whether that's a string or a number, it should still work. So out here, I'm going to create a function. I should be get, I should say, yeah, get largest value is fine. And we're going to pass the array to this function. So in here will be the array of the string type. I'm just going to call it, what should we call this? It's a temporary string, so we'll just call temp string is fine. Temp string. It's a string type as of string. And then we'll, okay. So this is how you pass string to array to a function or a subroutine. You would, so up here, when I read the data, I got the string, new string data array here. Before I add it to the array, I want to do some processing. So I would say in here, I would create a new variable, get the largest value, right? So we said dim large value is fine. As it'll be just string type. We want to assign that to the get largest value, and we're passing the new string to it. Okay, so the new string is the array. Okay, just something I'm calling a function, and I pass this new string array to that function. It's going to process it, loop to the array, find the largest value, return it back to the larger value here. Okay, and so here after I add these words at the very bottom here, I'm going to add every larger value back to the list. So let me just copy this, put it here, and then also put it here. I would say maybe max value. and I'll append that with the largest or larger value. Okay, so there. So now we need to implement this get largest value. I pass the variable new string, which is an array. So you go into the head section of the function, you declare a variable name here. It has to be of the array type, so you have to put the paren here. Notice that I do not specify the length here or the upper bound number, right? So because I don't know what the size is. Right, so you should not put the number in here. You can't put that there. You need to leave that as open. So the paren just tells you that this is an array of type string. Okay, that's got to match the original array, which is this one here. Okay, I pass through the function, and now I can access the string here. Again, I'm passing to the temp string here, but this is array as a reference, right? So if I change it into the temp string, it's going to affect the original string array as well. So I have to be careful here. Okay, so now I can, the easiest way is, of course, you can just say return, temp string .max, right? That's already given, and that will give you the maximum of that array. And we'll use this for now, just to show you that is the maximum of the string. Of course, you can always loop it and then compare the value like we did earlier, which is fine. And so now this array needs to return, this function needs to return something, right? We're returning what? We're returning a string to the larger value. So this would be a string of as string type. So over here, say as string. Okay? So return this string, which is an element inside this array, the highest, largest value, back as a string to the large value here. And then we output that to the list box. Okay, so very, very simple. And let me save this, and let's run and see if this works. So I'll use numbers for now. Okay, so we'll put like 1, 23, 45, and then 6, and then 7. Okay, let's see if 45 is the largest. May or may not be true. So we got the list, it breaks into array, and so the maximum is 7. Okay? What happened here? And this is one of these examples that you have to be really careful of when you deal with strings versus actual numbers. Okay? Because you look at this, we do a comparison of the string type. Especially when numbers convert to a string type, then the system looks at the first position only. Look at the first character, 1, this is 2, this is 4, this is 6, and this is 7. So 7 is the largest. Okay? And this is very different in terms of if it's a string. That's why the 7 is the largest value here. It should have been 45, but it's not. So looking at the same, it's the same way it would treat a string character. If I put ABC, right? For example, I put like A here, B, and then D, and then K, and then I put apple, and then band, something. Okay, it will put that into an array, but the largest value is K, right? It doesn't add all together and then find which is the largest. It compares the first position first. Okay, compares that, and if it's not the largest, then it beats everything else, right? What if I have like here, KD? Okay. you can see that now KD is the largest. Because these two, they tie, and then it looks for the next character. Oh, D has, this one has D, this one doesn't have it, so therefore this one beats this one. Okay, so you compare one position at a time, and it goes to the next character and so on. That's why if you saw those numbers earlier, it didn't make sense because of the string type. So be careful when you do this. In other words, if I also put like you know, and so right, so when you sort this way, it's a little bit weird in Visual Basic. But it does, you know, if you just think about words, it does the job, right? We will pass the data to the function here. It gets the maximum, and then returns it back to us. So a pass, you can pass, you know, multiple variables just like you did in any other way. You can also pass a return back as not a primitive data type. You can return it back as an array. Okay, so for example, if I were to create a new function, I would call this function here, maybe I'll just say, for example, I don't know, sort it, right? I'm going to sort the array. Again, I'm going to use the temp string as usual, as string, and I'm going to return back as a string type, but it's going to come back as an array type. So here's your primitive type. Here it's going to return back as a string of array of strings. So you put at the end here, just again the paren here. So now I can return the array dot sort of the temp string, right? No, I can't do that. Sorry, I have to sort the temp string, and then I can return, for example, I mean, this is not a really good idea, and a good way to do it because I'm actually modifying the temp string. So I'll return the temp string. Okay, so the array.sort is not a it's not a function that returns something. It actually sorts the array here, the temp string, and then I return the temp string array back as a string data type, but it's an array. Okay, so when I call it back here somewhere, I need to, let's just say, dim a new string. Call it the sorted string array, and as string, and set that to the sort. What I call it? Sort it. Okay. And passing the new string. This is an array, so it returns an array of strings. That's why this function sorted has to return an array of string. I put the paren here, and the return, it should be an array. And so now you can now print this new array to the list. So I could do down here, I could say, let me put that here, separator, and then the new list will be, I'm just going to copy this again and put it down here, and we'll add the, for each, maybe just say sorted string, and the sorted string, and then put SST here. Okay, so we have a sorted string. If we run this, put here, you know, let's see, banana, apple, cherry, grapes, pie. So we have that in here. The max is pie, which makes sense. And then we have the sorted list: apple, banana, cherry, grapes, and pie. Here is not sorted, right? So we sort that list. We send that list, the original list here, which is this one here. We send, well, it actually is sorted already because, again, I mentioned to you that because when you pass the array to when you pass it to the sorted list, here I sort the list in here of the temp string, and this is temp string here is the same as the new string when I pass it here. So it actually already modified that string, and because they are reference type, then it already sort that string. So I should have like moved this down here so we can kind of see before and after it's sorted. Okay, so let's do this again. Yeah, put it here. B A C K W A R D, right? So here is backward, not sorted. Highest should be W, and then here is the sorted list. Okay. All right. Any questions on how you pass array to a function and return it back? Also return a function. Array back. So again, this is just data type. If it returns back as an integer type, you just put integer here and put the paren there. Will be a return of the data type of integer. In this case, it doesn't match because it's a string. But you can pass arrays to a function or subroutine. You can also return it back in a function. Any questions on this so far? Because this is very related to your assignment, and I'll go over that in a minute here. Before I let you guys go, I know it was up an hour, but I'll stop here. So let's look at the assignment just really quick, and hopefully what I just did will help you solve this problem. You are dealing with another palindrome problem. Right, this time you'll be dealing with a word instead of the character. Okay, so last time you deal with the character palindrome of the word, right? Like for example, I or race car, you can spell the same character, same word back and forth. Now you are doing something similar, except you are we're checking for words like the you here, are, and fine. So if you can read this sentence in any direction, right? So you're not checking for the characters like here and here. You're checking for the whole word. So you here. So what this means, if I enter this into the text box I showed you earlier, you want to split the string in the spaces, right, with the white space. You split that there, so you have an element of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You compare the first word with the last word, see if they're the same word or not. And also you want to make sure you convert those into all lowercase or all uppercase. Otherwise, they won't be equal. Okay. Same thing here. So in this example, you could remove assume that you don't have any punctuation marks, so you don't have to enter that in there. And same thing, I, and then M, therefore, and so on. Okay. So so you will build something very similar to what I have here. Okay. You put a sentence here. It will split that, or you can say is palindrome, and you put a result whether or not it's palindrome. So you will do the same thing. You break it into a array. Use the comma. If it's a comma, if it's a space, you put a white space here. And then once you have the array, then you can loop through the array using both index, right? One for the front, one for the back. And you compare the first index with the last index element and say if they're the same. If they are, then you would increment one, decrement the other side. You keep checking that until they overlap. Same thing with a string, same idea, except you're checking forward. Now, again, if you look at here, I put a note here. So you're not allowed to use the built-in function reverse, because that's cheating, right? Because I put the array, I reverse it, everything is reversed. And once I reverse the array, you just compare if they're equal. You compare the entire array, they're equal, then they're palindrome, right? It's very easy to do. So don't use the array reverse. Because if you put it in there, if you reverse this one here, you'll get the same sentence back. You know, it's already a palindrome. But I want you to use the loop to check each of the words inside the element and compare them. Okay, so we have an index for the left, index for the right, upper bound here, and you check those two words if they're equal. Then if there are no overlap, then you move to the next one. You decrement this one, and you keep checking until they overlap or they're equal. And if they are still the same, then you found it. Otherwise, if the first word or any word doesn't match, then you can say, oh, it's not palindrome. You can exit out. You can force a exit loop or exit do, and they would get out of the loop, and then you would just determine that it's not a palindrome. Okay, so it will be very similar. You get a function to do that, to check that for you, and use the repeat, a loop to check it, and then just output it to the result. So that is the lab. Now, as for the assignment, this one here, I might have to, we'll see, I might have to extend a little bit longer, because this one here, you won't be able to do this until next week. Okay, this one here deals with two-dimensional arrays. But you can look it over and kind of see what it looks like. So you have a two-dimensional array. Again, two-dimensional array is just a table. If you think of a table of data, like an Excel table or any type of table, that is a two-dimensional array. 2D array is one that has rows and columns. Okay, a single array, single dimensional array, what we just did tonight was just a single row. So you don't deal with two rows, just one row of data, and that's a single dimension. You can call it one row of data or one column of data. It doesn't matter which one you call it, but you just deal with one. Okay, so that's a single dimension, and then we'll go over the two dimension next week. And this does get a little bit complicated, but once you understand how they are structured and how you can access those data, then it becomes pretty simple. All right, so this part here won't be due until the 23rd, which is right before Thanksgiving. If I need to extend this a little bit longer, that's fine too, because this one might be a little bit complicated. But I'll go over this next week after we learn the two-dimensional array. So for now, just try to finish the lab and see if you can solve the problem. Okay? I think that's it for today.